when I started talking about maybe artificial intelligence and blockchain and why blockchain is the necessity to keep our AIs not rebelling against us, so to speak.
That's a bold statement right there. That could be a whole different discussion.
It is.
That is a very...
But it's the only way.
Hey everyone, it's Gordon Einstein again. I am speaking to you from lovely Dubai, balmy, slightly warm, but very sunny, nice Dubai. Here conducting a series of interviews for the AIBC Sigma Summit. And I'm very happy to have as my next guest, published author, Damu Winston. So you must get this book. I'm going to get it. It says, I don't trust you. And you know what? I don't trust you, but I still like you. So, Damu, we're going to do this. First of all, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
And you know, I don't shake everyone's hand during this COVID time, but I felt I needed to.
There we go.
I'll do both. now we're
family.
now we're sharing the same biome. Let's just start with you. So let's give the intro.
Absolutely. Hi, so my name is Damu Winston. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I've been out here for about 7 years almost, and I've been very fortunate enough to work on some amazing projects from healthcare to nuclear energy to financial services, and I would say my claim to fame has been I take complex problems and make them simple. I wrote a book back in 2018 or so about I don't trust you, but blockchain and Bitcoin will help, mainly because I saw that one of our biggest challenges that we all face is trust issues. And I feel as though when we think about the future that we're going to be, growing into this digitally dependent society, the number one thing that's going to be facing all of us is going to be trust issues. And so the idea behind the book was what will be that infrastructure of trust that will enable us to be able to trust each other even if we don't trust each other. And that's where I believe blockchain plays a remarkable, necessary role, especially when we start talking about the emergence of artificial intelligence and what that will mean across our every vertical of our lives. And so at the end of the day, I've just been very blessed enough to write this book, meet some incredible people along the way, and just do some interesting projects here in the region. One of the reasons why I got into this book, or got into the whole blockchain space, was in 2017 or 2016. I was working for a company out in the region, and they kept asking me to support on this thing called blockchain. And because my background is really machine learning, artificial intelligence, CNNs, convolutional neural networks. And along the way, they were like, well, we want you to help sell this thing called blockchain. And ultimately, I felt like blockchain was just this database. And I was like, oh, just another database, so who really cares? I actually had a mentor, Jim Kittredge, who was the head of innovation for Barclays, who actually brought me into the whole blockchain space back in 2012, but I didn't pay it any mind. Fast forward, 2016.
That's early, 2012?
Yeah, he was one of the early adopters of it. I mean, he's well retired now for obvious reasons.
Good for him.
So ultimately, in 2017 or 2016, I looked into this thing and I wanted to learn more about it. So I started going to these conferences. And every conference I went to where there was these blockchain experts, they would say, blockchain is this cryptographic hashing, blah, 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 blah. And I felt more confused listening to them than actually, what I already had learned before. And so I realized that it was full of phonies and people didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So I felt like they need to become a standard if you're going to be in this space. And that standard need to be some type of published information about it. And not just exactly what everyone else has already said, but something that is relevant and adds value to organizations and to your personal lives. And so in the beginning, I didn't really get involved heavily into the crypto space. I just focused on the technology. And once I started understanding the implications of the technology, the financial piece of it is just one massive industry that you cannot forget about or omit. It's huge. As I say in the book, for example, one small example, you look at the size of the entire cryptocurrency market, and I want to say it was January of 2017. The entire cryptocurrency market was about $17 billion. That's the same size of Snapchat.
1.7?
Yeah. And then
I remember those days.
You fast forward 1 year later, just 1 year later, right? January 2018, just before the bubble happened, right? Burst happened. It was about $850 billion. It's like the same size of Apple. So going from the size of Snapchat to the size of Apple in 1 year, we've never in the history seen that type of growth before. And now look at it today. Bitcoin by itself is, it's valued at what, $1.3 trillion, $1.4 trillion, right?
Depends on the day, but yeah.
Right.
It
depends.
Even 1.2 is not that bad.
That's true, right? But still,
it's a few aircraft carriers.
Yeah, but still, it's massive.
In countries.
And so you just can't avoid it. And I've been very fortunate enough to have learned from some people who have been there and succeeded in the space, and have taught me a few lessons.
So I got to ask you, as an aspiring author who has not actually published and gets teased about it,
you should.
How do you? Well, no doubt. I actually need to do it just to make a couple people be quiet.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate story.
Yeah.
How do you write a book?
How do you write a book? Honestly, I was a beginner, and so I figured things out. But one of the lessons I learned some valuable lessons. One of them is you want to write your abstract first, or your summary first, of what you're going to be writing about.
You wrote the abstract.
Abstract first, the final chapter, because that brings it all together. So it's like,
how clever.
Yeah, and then after that, you write the first chapter, and you try to figure out how do you fit everything else in between. And so
that's brilliant, actually. So abstract, final chapter, first chapter, and then you have your lodestar.
Correct.
That you kind of steer by or sail by.
Yeah.
That's wise. Okay.
Yeah. So then you know where you're going. And so what I did, I ended up writing my last chapter, I would say 5 or 6 times, maybe even more. And what happened was, as I wrote the last chapter, and I went to the first chapter, I started realizing, well, that wasn't good enough. I didn't cover this. There was so much more that I wanted to add. And what helped me to really develop the book is, just like if you're building a new product, you want to try things out and then pivot where you need to, and then incorporate into your final product. So what I did was, I was also training in 2017 and 2018. So I would use bits of my book that I was going to put in the book.
Training or trading?
Training. I was training, right now I teach every single bank here in the UAE. And so I was training banks on blockchain, what it's all about. And so what I would do was, I would take excerpts from the book, and that'd be a part of my training. And the stuff that went well, I kept in the book. The stuff that was I was like, all right, well, or the stuff that was complicated, when I started talking about maybe artificial intelligence and blockchain, and why blockchain is the necessity to keep our AIs not rebelling against us, so to speak, right? When I started talking about that, I saw...
That's a bold statement right there. That could be a whole different discussion.
It is.
That is a very...
But it's the only way.
That's a double bold statement. To say it would work is one thing. To say it's the only way is like...
I'm saying it is the only way.
Squaring that idea.
I'm saying it is the only way. I'm saying that, while it's... ultimately, when we talk about AGI, I hate to digress to this, but when we talk about AGI, artificial general intelligence, what we do know is that...
This is relevant somehow because we're talking about the AIBC summit.
Absolutely.
Artificial Intelligence Blockchain Summit that we're having here.
That's right.
So we might as well talk about controlling AI on the blockchain.
Yes.
You did this intentionally. You pivoted to the event.
I can't help it.
Okay.
It's just in the back of my mind.
Okay, go on.
Begin with the end in mind, right?
Yes, perfect.
So ultimately, what I realized is that since AI is distributed, well, not AI, blockchain is distributed. Each AI that each organization or government may have is going to have their own central repository that they're going to be leveraging for its insights, for its data, right? Now, you remember the story where I think Facebook had its 2 bots, or Microsoft had, I think it was Facebook, had its 2 bots, and they started communicating with each other.
Yeah, they had to switch them off.
And they had to switch them off instantly, right? What we know from just research, like you look at GPT-3, is that the level of productivity that these algorithms have are significantly better than any human being, significantly better, right? At this point.
And so they write better articles.
Yeah, so for sure, right? I mean, this is 2021, and we already know that we have solutions in place that are significantly better writers than we will ever be. Right? Period.
Better artist than I am or will ever be.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. You know what? This literally could go for hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Hours.
Yeah,
and you're awesome.
Yeah.
And this is a fantastic. I love this. Part of the reason I'm going to segue to the next part just because we have to.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I love Dubai is you can actually sit and talk to people.
Yeah.
And
have educated
it allows spontaneity in a way that Zoom and Clubhouse really doesn't.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
No, we're not done, but I'm just letting you know it's a pleasure.
See you guys later.
So I want to use this as a bridge to our final fast topic, which is we are in Dubai.
Yeah.
We are going to both be speaking at the AIBC Sigma Summit in May.
Looking
and of
forward
course,
to it.
encourage everyone to come.
Yeah.
Just give your flash impressions of Dubai. You've been here 7 years, which
Almost
is
7
interesting.
years,
Give your
yeah.
flash reasons why people should come to the summit, and
Yeah.
just we'll kind of wrap up on that.
Sure. So reasons to come to Dubai. One, depending on when you come to Dubai, the weather is absolutely amazing. You can't beat it anywhere else. You have an opportunity to meet people from all over the world here. Think of like New York and Miami and Vegas all in one, right? The other reason why I absolutely love Dubai is it's a very forward-thinking, I would call it like a city. But what you find here in Dubai is that you find the people who stay the longest or are here for a while, you're here for a while for a reason. It's not the cheapest place to live. And so the people who are here for a while, they typically have developed what we call relationship capital, as well as they're savvy. They're not, the norm. And so, so if you surround yourself with some really good people, you'll find yourself having experiences that you never could have had anywhere else in the world. And I can honestly say I've met some amazing people here, and I've enjoyed the lifestyle that Dubai offers. And so having these conferences, these events that are happening, Dubai is one of the first places to really kind of restart that compared to the rest of the world.
That's a beautiful comment. To restart it.
Yeah, to restart it. Yeah. And
it's a good reboot here.
It is. And they've been, I think next to Israel, they're the second country in the world per capita of vaccinated people, right? And I think that's what you want. That's what I appreciate about this country, is that you see a lot of things that they're being proactive about, at least thinking about it, and that they're in a position where they're able to just make decisions and move relatively quick if they have a really good idea.
And AIBC Sigma?
I'm looking forward to being a part of it, and I think that being here is the right place and right time. The idea of bringing artificial intelligence and blockchain together, it is the future, period.
Yep.
No matter how you look at it, we're going to become a more and more digitally dependent society. So
Get this book.
I highly support my book, and I look forward to seeing you guys here.
That's amazing.
All the
Pleasure to
best.
meet you. Pleasure to speak with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thrilled to have you as a speaker.
Likewise.
And fascinating conversation.
Absolutely.
Beginning of much good
I wasn't planning to go there, but you never know.
That's what happens.
That's what happens.
Bless
Thank
you all. See you at the summit.
See you at the summit. Take care.